couldn't get off of work. Guillermo wasn't sure because they're very short-staffed. Pam was sick, I told her she had to appear by Zoom. So we may have just eight.
No, and Mindy will be here. So I think we've got it. Oh my goodness, yeah, Wednesday.
Oh, there's Pam. Yes. She was interested.
She wouldn't do that, would she?
No. Oh, it's not, yes, and I couldn't find it. We don't approve financials.
It's not an old dress, it is a new dress. I can give you all the stuff I've ever read on it. Cause I sent it to one board that I didn't know. Because approving it.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to budget. Okay.
It's a holiday.
Okay, it is 10 o'clock. We will call this meeting to order and stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Mary, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Guzman. Here. Commissioner McDonald. He's excused. He's excused, thank you. Commissioner Eno. Here. Commissioner Legria.
Here.
Yep. She's there. Commissioner Withers. He's excused. Okay. Commissioner Reed. Here. And Commissioner Romero. He's excused. Okay. Okay. And Peter Montero.
Here.
John Lansing. Christine Lawlett. Here. Marianne Brandon. Here. Melinda Ward.
Here.
She's there.
Paul Putke.
Here.
Art Powers. Okay.
Okay. Before we go further, I am going to let you know how we are going to handle public comments. The public will have the opportunity to address the budget committee directly. Each person commenting is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments will not be accepted through the Zoom chat room. You will see that public comments is item 7 on the agenda, and that is the time when we will be taking public comments. Okay, so let's get to the minutes. Okay. So I think the way we need to do this is work backwards. So we work from the June 7th minutes and we approve those before we approve the previous minutes. Because because we have amendments in the June 7th minutes. I forgot to. Sorry. I need to get my phone silent. Okay, good deal. So, we have the draft minutes of June 7th in front of us. Does anybody have any questions, comments, amendments, additions, etc.? Okay, so I'm gonna go down the list. If there's any changes, I think that it looked like everything was accurate to me. I might have some questions. Yeah. It's sort of a combination of verbatim and saying what happened, so I'm used to being all one way or all the other, so. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for June 7th.
I'll second.
A motion by Debbie Lou Smith, a second by Deanna Nino. Any discussion?
I did find a couple of spelling errors, and I will get with Mary with those.
Okay, great. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes? Say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. So, that then takes us back to the minutes of the previous meeting, which was June, what day was it? May 24th, May 24th. So at this point then, what I'm looking for is a approval of the minutes as amended, of the May 24th minutes as amended through the minutes of the June 7th meeting. Oh, I didn't get corrected minutes.
Did you did?
Oh, did these get sent out by email?
Yeah,
I didn't think I
Same
got one.
one, same time this one came.
I've sent out a couple of times.
Which one are you laughing?
No, I'm fine now.
I highlighted the changes. It's highlighted yellow.
Oh, I didn't. Really did the highlights.
Okay, here.
Okay. All right, I see. You can see that. Yeah,
This
no,
one's highlighted.
no, this is highlighted. This is highlighted.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I am looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 24th meeting, the corrected minutes.
I move to approve the May 24th corrected minutes.
I second it.
Moved by Rebecca, seconded by Debbie. Is there any discussion, questions, et cetera? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so we've taken care of the minutes. Now, I have a couple of questions on the June 7th minutes, just to go back. If we will look at page 3 is the first one. Again, we had asked for a copy of the P&Ls going back several years. And we said at the first meeting and the second meeting, we would get them, and we haven't received them at all. And even though the budget committee will be coming to a close, I would still like to have those.
We'll see that they go out.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want 2 years back?
Yes, please. And well, so the Mindy had a lot of questions about the previous year's numbers. And at the top of page 4, there was some discussion and the lines didn't match. Did those get fixed?
Yes, they did.
Can I also add something here for
Sure.
John's reason? An email that I received yesterday. Kelly and John has spent a lot of time working on retracing the accounting system and financial report problems. They were able to have a conversation with SETD's auditor and track down some of the crucial backup reports for 2021 audits, which John is hopeful that will review the evolution of the accounting system discrepancies. It's really clear, and this was echoed by the SETD's auditor, that the mitigation from QuickBooks to AccuFund was executed very poorly, and that since the mitigation, post-audit adjusting entries recommended by the auditor don't appear to have been made, which has not only resulted in wacky, his technical term, financial statements, but has complicated and delayed annual audits ever since. John is gonna continue to work and try to help find where these discrepancies are. So that's part of the reason our financials have been wacky. I like his technical term. And we're having trouble with the budget.
So if that was from an audit from 21, I would suspect that that audit report was given to the board. And was that kind of comment in the audit report given to the board? Then your auditor didn't do his job right. Because if he's telling you now about something he observed a couple years ago, there's a problem with that he didn't tell you then.
Just to clear up, what you're saying, there was a mitigation problem,
Migration, I think is the word.
Yeah, I'm
a
sorry.
migration problem between QuickBooks and the new accounting system that no one likes. So we actually left QuickBooks, that simple program, to go into a complicated program.
But it won't actually do everything we needed to do as far as following grants and that type of thing.
What
It's a
QuickBooks
simple
was?
program, but it's kind of too simple for us, from what I understand.
What, QuickBooks? No, I can tell you, QuickBooks can do all of that if you got the right person who knows how to use it. I can tell you, Dave. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize we were,
You're not recording, right?
No,
Yes.
it's
well,
an
that's
automatic.
interesting, but that's
Closed
not
captioning.
for anybody, yeah.
Can I say something about when the auditor came, we had a higher fee, that 45,000 was the first fee. So when the auditor came to, he had to do a lot of work to begin the audit, which in the transfer of funds and in the cleaning up of the records. I mean, that was a very, he didn't start for with the actual audit, it had to be all cleaned up, so.
So, yeah, and my observation is I'm not sure you got a full audit report. Tina,
Thank you. So that audit report, when would we have gotten it? Do we have an idea about the date? Because I would like to maybe go back and look at our
The 21. Is
board
that the,
meetings.
is that the one we just got?
No, so the 21 audit,
With Benny?
okay, so you wouldn't have got that until April 22, maybe? I'm trying to think,
Yeah,
Of what year?
that would have been
All right.
Oh, this
Yeah.
year?
getting it.
last year.
22.
Last year, so around April 2022.
And then I would assume that if that one was messed up, the one that we just got would also have some issues with it.
And that's the one, so the one that we just got is where he really started to realize that what had been done previously wasn't done correct. And that was part of what took so long. So then he went back through and made the adjustments that should have taken it back to the way it should be. But John was looking at it and it doesn't appear that that's the case. So John had a conversation with the auditor and so John's gonna basically go back to square one and see what it was year-end 20, fiscal year-end 20 in QuickBooks to what rolled over into AccuFund and then bring it forward.
He said at the end of or maybe at the beginning of the audit, this is the last audit, he said you've had a lot of problems, you still have problems, but I think after the next audit, it will be clear, something like that, going forward,
Yes.
yeah.
And I think with John's help in going back through it, it'll help it to clear quicker and easier.
And
So
have
who
we-
did he say to whom did he say you have a lot of problems?
They've
and you
had
still have
a
problems?
lot of problems.
But to whom did he say that? To the board? And did nobody ask for a list of what those problems were?
I think we knew
Yeah.
that there were issues, but never got like an itemized, description of what were the
Again.
problems.
Christine,
So I don't know who does your audits, but it sounds like there sounds like a lot of problems. However, would it behoove everybody or the system to go back through and have somebody re-audit to see if there's something else that's wrong? Because I don't know if you're using the same person and that person is or isn't giving you information. It sounds like that. And might it be, so I mean, there's one thing, is it the same person doing the audit? If so, maybe it's smart to go back and have things re-looked at to see what else is wrong that somebody didn't figure out.
and maybe we can hope that the DOT, the ODOT forensic audit may shed more light. Paul,
I was just gonna say, if there's a forensic audit, it's gonna show what went where, and to just not interfere with that, just stand back and let the state do their forensic audit and move on.
the only
With
thing
this
that,
year's budget, because we don't have any money, so there's nothing to worry about passing.
the only thing with the forensic audit is it's only gonna look, I think, at the last year, probably not.
4
Is
years.
it going, it's going 4 years? So good.
Okay,
Good,
so.
good. All right.
I know we'd all like to know exactly what would
Yes.
happen,
Right,
but it's gonna take probably a while to unwind this since you went from one software program to another software program. And the last software program I haven't heard anything nice about yet. So we just need to move on.
I agree. Okay, so on page 6, we were talking about line 24, the budget, and we had been talking about no, that's not correct. Oh, it's the line that we talked about fuel.
It's,
2024.
It is full, yeah, okay, I just couldn't see the word fuel. And somebody was gonna check to see if we needed to modify it, and I didn't, I think the number is the same in our new budget, so,
And I think that's an okay number for fuel at what we have for our current routes.
okay,
So, and if that should change, then
right, yes, and we're always at the mercy of what's the cost,
right?
okay. All right, I think that does it for me on that. Okay, so minutes, and let's go to the budget document. The document we received, I thank you for highlighting the numbers that were changed. Does anybody have any questions,
Yeah, I do.
concerns, anything that we need to go over so that we make sure we understand what these line items are? Mindy, you have your hand up.
I do. So I'm looking
Can't
at,
hear you.
you can't hear me? I'm unmuted.
Oops, can you turn Mindy on?
As she is, as my.
Can you
nice
hear me
telling
now?
she is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Jason.
Okay, hold on.
No, we can't hear you. But we can read you.
Try that.
Okay, now we can hear you, Mindy.
Okay. So I have a question. The first 2 days that we've done this, I have all 3 sheets now in front of me. Under historical data, under actual, why has the first preceding column changed from the actual figures to the proposed budget for 22-23?
Did you say to page 3?
No, I think
Or
she's talking
actually, it
about
was the 21 on the resources, general fund resources page. The historical data columns on the left, the first preceding year, 2021, 2022. The figures have now changed to the adopted budget instead of the actual figures.
I had them updated to the actual figures before, and you had questioned why everything was changed different from last year, so I moved them back to how they were put on the
No,
budget.
you put back the actual adopted budget rather than the actual figures that were spent, and I don't understand why.
Which is what was on the budget papers last year. I pulled the documents from last year that were adopted, and I put them back to the way they were last year when they were adopted. That was
No,
listed before.
you put on the adopted budget instead of the actual figures.
Because I had the actual figures on there last time, and you questioned why they were changed.
Some of the figures had changed. You can't change actual figures from a prior year's budget. You can't just insert what we had adopted as a possible budget in place of that. Plus your adopted budget for this year figures on the first 2 sheets say 6,641,737. And now it says 6,661,737. They don't match. Figures keep changing and columns keep changing. This has never happened before.
So if you look at this under the second column, it's first preceding year, 2021, 2022. The header above that is actuals. That should not be the approved budget figures. That should be what was actually income and expended during that year.
Which is what I had put it to previously. And Mindy questioned it being different than what was on the forms at last year's budget. So I then updated it to what was on the forms at last year's budget.
No, they don't match that either. It was you put in the adopted budget rather than the actual spent. And only some of the columns figures had changed, not all of them. Now you've got it at 7,191,759 instead of your 4,349,665. You put in the actual what we had adopted as a budget rather than what actually got spent. That's not a budget column. Those are actual figures.
Well, I think that we've gotten into a situation here because we had indicated the values that we had determined should have been in that column on the second meeting. And there were questions indeed, and in our effort to put them back the way they were on during the first meeting, in order to end that discussion, apparently we haven't gotten exactly the same figures that were there before.
Right.
These figures for the preceding years, first of all, they will change, as Kelly had explained. At one point in time, we know what those figures are, and after an audit, they may be changed. So they do change from time to time.
Right. Now that's what John said, but they don't change.
I understand. I'm saying that we may not have hit the mark yet. And although it might not seem so, this is the first time that Kelly and I have done a budget, to the degree that we have. So, Madam Chair, I don't know what to propose here, but we can't change this while we're having this discussion.
We can't change it while we're having the discussion. Let me call on people and then we'll figure out.
Thank you.
Deanna?
Forgot what I was gonna ask.
Okay, Paul?
In the minutes from the May meeting, there was a listing on how much we were gonna be paying to pay back our loans. And, I can get some.
Oh, Paul, can I have you hold that for a
Sure.
minute? Can we
Sure.
resolve this situation and then,
Yeah, no.
no, keep your thing up so
Okay,
I'll
I'll keep it
remember. Thank you. Rebecca?
In order for, I mean, we're really under the time clock
Yeah,
here.
certainly.
And we've got to resolve this today because we've got to vote on this, absolutely. So I believe that if there are, we will do the due diligence and come to an agreement as to what needs to change, if anything needs to be changed. And I propose that Kelly can take those and if, we can recess for a few minutes for her to make those corrections on the computer and so that we can pass this budget.
I wouldn't disagree with most of what you said, but what I don't think it's gonna be one of these things where Kelly can be gone for a couple minutes and find those figures. However, what I do see is that we have two sides of this budget document. We have the side that reflects the past, and we have the side that predicts or sets the goals for the future. While they're not unrelated, they're not totally related. The past we're looking at for what's been the experience, what can we take from that helps us figure out what we wanna put into the future. But what we're really passing is a budget. And I think that we can pass the budget, we can talk about the budget and instruct that the historical data on the budget document be corrected to reflect reality. Am I making sense for people?
Yes, I like that.
Okay. All right, so Paul, now we're at a question.
Okay, on the budget, go to page 7,
Our current document?
the current one. I'm sure this is fine.
Oh, you're looking at the minutes.
So in the minutes of the May minutes, it had a number of, that we're gonna be paying the state back $38,000 per quarter over the next 4 years to pay back the loan.
That's correct.
But look at the budget on page 7. It has ODOT loan principal and interest, it has $309,000. $168,000. Is there more than one loan?
There's two $500,000 loans.
Yeah, but either. So that's what you do, you, even though we don't know how much money of that second loan we're gonna get, because my understanding from the last meeting, there was gonna be like a
line
line of credit.
It is a line of credit and our intention is not to use the entire line of credit. But for budget purposes,
Okay.
if we used it,
Got it.
we wanna
Got it.
account for it.
Good, okay.
Good question.
So this would be for
Two,
a 1,010,000 or 1,005,000
It's $1,010,000.
$1,010,000.
It was 505 each.
each, thank you.
Yeah, but the 505 is like it's sitting in their pocket till we take it out, and we don't pay on it till we take it out.
Right, the 500, yeah,
Yeah.
5,000 was a fee.
The second part. Okay. So we see the changes, the FTE 15, the audit expense was increased to 40,000. The meeting expense was increased to $500. I did do the math, and if you go to the next page and you have your organizational unit activity total, that does total everything from the previous page.
What page are you looking at?
On the budget, the pages aren't numbered.
Page 5, they're on the right.
Where? Oh, I see. So 3 and 4 is what I'm looking at. Because that's the general fund. Does anybody have any questions on pages 3 and 4, which is the general fund, resources, and, 2, 3, and 4? 2 is resources, 3 and 4 is requirements. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think Paul had his
Oh, I'm sorry.
first. Okay, Deanna.
Yeah, so just to confirm that on the, like, today's, the budget that we have for today, on page 5, line 29, operating.
Can we not go to page 5 yet? That's the,
This is the requirements, not allocated general fund?
right, that's a different,
Oh, sorry,
Yeah. that's a summary, so at this point, this is the general fund, resources and requirements. Pages 2, 3, and 4.
allocated.
Correct, allocated, thank you. Okay, so Pamela,
On I'm not sure, it's the requirements summary not allocated to
yeah,
an organizational unit.
I'm not there yet,
Oh, you're
Pamela.
not there. It's not numbered. Well, mine isn't numbered anyway.
Okay, we're on the allocated.
Okay,
We're on the first 3 pages.
Okay, so it says that our total activity in the general fund allocated is $2,526,720. Okay? No more questions on that. Now, go to page 5, which is the requirement summary not allocated. And you'll see that that's where on line 15 is the ODOT loan. So we have debt service of $310,000. And then at the bottom, there's the contingency of $415,088. And then there's the total requirements not allocated. That's your ending fund balance that will go in reserve, if you will, to the beginning of the 24-25 year.
Only the 425,088. The 310,000 will be spent towards the loan. The 415 is all the contingency.
Yes,
So the 7, we won't have.
okay, so
There
the
won't be
total
725.
required, 725, that's the addition of both those.
Correct.
So what this means is we are not taking any money forward.
No, we should take about 415,000 forward.
That's the contingency, you can still spend the contingency.
Our plan.
And there was a motion that passed that the board, the budget committee is recommending to the board that nothing come out of contingency without full approval of the board.
Right.
Okay. Did I answer the question for you, Pamela?
I may have the wrong page here. Are we on what I thought I was on was that the total requirements is 2,900. Gee, where are we? Sorry.
Okay,
That the, whoops, that the, I don't know if I have the right sheet. Is there a page number on it? Page 5?
the pages are on the left-hand side in red. Or right-hand side, excuse me,
And it's
Hand
page
side.
5.
page 5. What are you
It'll be
looking?
30. That's the other thing. Carol, it'll be 30.
Okay, let's go to Deanna with a question while you're figuring it out, Pamela.
Thank you. Yeah, so just for clarity, on that line 29 operating contingency, I know that we there was a recommendation that it would be through the board, but have we agreed on a number that will be untouched, that like a guarantee of some money that will move on to the following fiscal year, or did we?
If you adopt this budget, you are saying there is no unappropriated ending balance. There's nothing being held over to go to 24-25. That's what this budget says.
But all the decisions will go through the board for approval. We're
Yes,
just not
because
setting
it's-
aside a specific amount.
It's setting, it's giving the board the ability to take money out of contingency. You can always take money out of contingency. If you put money in the unappropriated ending balance, you're not ever supposed to take that money out.
Mhm.
So basically, this budget puts nothing in reserve for budget year 24-25.
Mhm.
So that's what you need to,
Thank
and I
you.
think that was the question
Yes,
you asked.
thank you.
Okay, Pamela, do we still have a question?
Well, I'm not sure. Continue, okay.
Okay. All right, so that question is, we're still going with operating contingency and no unappropriated ending balance?
Yes.
I'm asking the budget committee. I don't hear anybody saying anything different.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next page 6, that's all zeroed out. And the next page 7 lists the stiff money that the resources we will get is a total of $876,192. And then it indicates on the distribution, if you will, there will be fund transfers. $111,434 will be distributed to district operations. $455,590 will be transferred to the match. And $309,168 is the part that is transferred to the ODOT loan principal and interest that will be getting paid during the year. And so the resources and requirements balance $876,192. Questions? Yes, Paul?
We're getting 800,000 K from the state. And between the match and the loan payback, we really only are gonna get 100,000 from the state
For the,
to spend.
yeah,
Those are rough numbers, I'm not gonna.
yeah, in a way you could say we're using the state's money to pay back the state, the loan we got from the state.
It's gonna be this way for 4 years.
How long is that, is our loan payment?
The loan payment is 4 years, yes.
So for the next 4 years, we can only expect, since we're using the state funding for our match, we're only gonna get a small percentage of that to operate with.
It does vary, I'm sorry, it does vary year to year.
No, I know it's not very, but I mean,
It would be
just
larger if we didn't
general
have
thought.
the debt service. Yeah.
So look at it this way.
No, that was just a
Yeah.
question, I just wanted to make sure I
Because
understood these.
it doesn't matter who we get the money from, we have to pay it back.
No, I get that, I just want to understand.
And when we talked about, the ODOT's funding us,
But not all our funding is ODA,
yeah, but.
because we do get other
Yeah.
sources, so those would help with the payments.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, once this forensic audit is done, there could be more money coming back that's owed to us from the past. And I remember that's like 492,000 or something like that.
Yes.
Okay. And that, the big word on that is could.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Questions? And then we go to page 8, which is the stiff. And that's all zeroed out,
That's the discretionary fund.
the discretionary, yes. And page 9 is the capital reserve fund. And that's all zeroed out. And that's the whole budget document. Paul, did I miss anything?
No. You didn't miss a thing.
Okay. Any question? Thank you, Deanna.
I just want to confirm once more that for this budget, we're not foreseeing to add more routes, correct? This would be a year of us kind of tightening the belt and keeping very limited service.
That's the base scenario, but as I mentioned at the first meeting, this is our best guess, this is our forecast going forward. If we're able to manage the funds better than we think we are, and begin to develop some room in the funding, I would certainly anticipate we would examine some opportunity to add some service, because that's what we're here all about.
Yes.
But we're gonna, what is you plan for the worst and hope for the best? That's kind of where we are.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to approve the budget?
Yes,
Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the budget as presented.
Is this the amount we're approving, the 3539?
Um,
3,353.
the amount we would be approving
Oh, there
is
it is.
3,251,808. Okay, do I have a second for that?
I second that.
So that is Rebecca made the motion and Debbie seconded it. I guess what I would like to see is maybe amend the motion to say approve the budget. For, but not this document in terms of the past or with the
Corrections.
Correct.
yes,
We're approving this column,
we are approving
the column that says proposed by budget officer.
that is correct. And it will go into the column approved by budget committee, and that's what we're approving. We're not approving the historical data as presented.
So does this sound like a good amendment? Approve the budget proposed by budget officer.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think this is the motion that we need to read. This is,
It's
This
a
is
specific,
point. Okay,
I'm sorry,
We should say the number.
yes, yes, absolutely.
Make sure.
Oh,
Yeah, that worked well.
That was smooth.
okay, and that'll do it. So would you take your first motion off the table, please?
I take my first motion off the table.
Thank you.
Okay,
Now make
second motion.
the one at the top is the one you read.
Okay, I move that the budget committee of Sunset Empire Transportation District approve the budget of 2023-2024 fiscal year in the amount of,
I know, I can't read the writing.
$3,251,808.
I second that.
Okay, motion made by Rebecca Reed and seconded by Debbie Booth Schmidt. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we have an approved budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And we know that the document will get updated to correct the historical data. Okay, there is another motion that we need to make, and it's the this is the property taxes, so could we please make that motion?
I move that the Budget Committee of Sunset Empire Transportation District approve and recommend that SETD Board of Commissioners adopt property taxes for the 2023-2024 fiscal year at the rate of 16.2 cents per $1,000 of assessed value for the permanent tax levy.
I second.
Motion made by Debbie Booth Schmidt, seconded by Deanna Nino. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so we have passed the budget there, and I need to go back to my agenda. Where is it? There we are. So we are on number 7 of the agenda, and we are now opening the meeting to public comment. If anyone on the public wants to make a comment, you just need to, I think, raise your hand, and Jason will unmute you. Okay, is there anybody that wants to make public comment? Anybody in the room who wants to make public comment? Okay. No public comment. Before we adjourn, I'd like to give everybody the opportunity to make any last comments for the good of the order. And I guess I'll start, we'll just go around the room.
Okay, I'm glad that I really appreciate all of the hard work that we put into this. It took a long time and under, tough circumstances. And I thank everybody for their efforts. We came to a good conclusion.
I totally agree. It kind of taxed my math skills there for a while, but I do feel comfortable with this a lot more than last week when I was confident.
Okay, great. Pamela, do you have any last comments?
No.
Thank you. Debbie?
I would like to take a moment to thank the members of the Budget Committee, the board, and the staff for their work this year on the district's budget. This has been a very challenging time for our community, but we are making good progress and getting services back for our riders. We appreciate their patience and support. We have a lot of work ahead of us to finish, but with the dedication and focus, we will make Sunset Empire Transportation District an even better organization to serve the needs of our citizens.
Thank you. Deanna?
First, I also want to thank all the members of the committee. Thank you so much to Tita for guiding us through this process and being very organized and focused. I really appreciate that. And our staff for doing the best that they can to move us forward. And I did have a question. We had considered that reviewing minutes 1 year later was a little, difficult to recall. So are we going to amend that or change that so that the minutes for today's meeting are reviewed earlier than a year, or did we not discuss that?
If you review them earlier than a year, then you have another meeting that you have minutes for, then you have another meeting that you have minutes for. I know Mary's got a lot on her plate,
I know.
but she's got a new software program maybe? No?
All right.
I'm not saying anything other than that.
Well, and luckily this meeting has been short.
And now we have all the recordings.
It is always on the recording too, so if we reviewed it before we came back to our next meeting, then it's on the audio, that's true.
Paul?
I'd like to thank the staff for putting up with us. I'd like to thank everybody that attended and put into this meeting. Thank you.
Christine?
Well, it's been a good learning experience for the staff, so going forward, hopefully things will just line up correctly.
Yeah, we are hopeful.
Did we lose Mindy?
She did drop out.
Okay, so we don't have Mindy. All right. So,
You have that long?
excuse me?
You forgot that?
No, I did ask you.
You did?
I
Oh,
did,
okay.
I did. So, this has been a longer than normal process, I think, for Sunset Empire Transportation District to go through. I feel confident that we have looked at everything for next year that's in this budget carefully. I know that we are not thrilled with the results that we have to cut service for the incoming year. I would ask that the board definitely consider reconvening the budget committee at least once during the upcoming year to review, especially if there's any major changes. And I would ask that members of the budget committee tune in to the board meetings, at least for the financial reports. I feel remiss that I did not do that during this past year. I feel the budget committee is here to advise the board and also to be a bit of a watchdog. And I definitely will be paying attention to that. Thank you, all of you, for your time and going that extra mile. And thanks for putting up with me.
Mindy joined back in, so.
Mindy, you're back. Do you want,
Trying to, I'm trying.
okay, do you want to have any last comments?
I don't think anybody wants to hear my comments.
No.
I'm totally flabbergasted over the preceding year actual figures keep changing on the document.
I think she has issues.
Did we
on
lose her
side.
again?
Yes.
Oh. And it just makes me wonder what I'd like a copy of the one that we're gonna fix. And I'd like to see some P&L statements for the last, 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay, so that's some homework that the staff have. So,
But I would like an updated copy of the general fund page when it's completed with preceding year actual figures, please.
yes, I think all of us should get that. Because I know that most of us keep those records.
Yep.
So, okay. Paul, would you like to have something to say?
I have something to say, and
Okay.
I would like to do it. I would say that this has been grueling, and in some ways, not a pleasant experience. However, it's probably the best budget committee meeting that I have seen in my 10-some years associated with the district. I learned a lot, but I had a lot to learn. But I was impressed by the sincerity that everybody on the committee had in getting to the bottom line and understanding what each line meant, and in holding the staff accountable for what we presented here. 3 meetings is a lot of meetings. 2 might have been nice. It's been done in 1 before. It's been done in less than 2 hours before. But I think this was a real exercise. But the deliverable, the product is something that we can all feel comfortable about. We'll fix the historical stuff, but the column that makes the difference I feel good about it. I can stand on that. I'm sure Kelly can. And I hope you all feel as good about it as I do. Thanks.
Okay, so it is, we kept to schedule. It is 10:54.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Oh, sure, Mary.
When we approve the budget, do we have to recommend it to the board? Pass it?
No, we don't recommend. The fact that we approve it means that it is automatically going to the board level. So at the board meeting, they know that they have a recommended budget.
So make
Yeah,
sure.
because we don't have the final say, the board has the final say.
Know that.
Yes.
Just wanna make sure the wording is okay. When I come back here.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, oh, yes,
When are the meetings, the regular board meetings?
the next board meeting is June 22nd, I
No,
believe.
we've changed it
Oh.
because of the timing for us to, okay, the budget, we're putting
Okay.
it into one meeting. So it's gonna be the 27th of this month. Normally, it's the fourth Thursday of each month
Okay,
at 9 o'clock.
And that hasn't gone out
yeah,
And like Jason said, if you log into our webpage, they always put the PDF files there for the following, and you can just click on the top like that. There would be a link right under there, and then you just click it and you can join from home.
right, right.
You're also welcome to come in person and have treats if we have treats.
And it's at 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, yes.
That's
Like $500. We're bringing treats
We're
to the
taking
board.
turns bringing treats.
9 o'clock, it's awfully early in the morning.
So, I did go to the website this morning and, there's a few other changes that need to be made to the website, such as Paul needs to be on there as the,
Oh,
yeah. He's not on there,
There's some things we can do,
and some things you can't,
there's
yes.
Some things that take more time.
Okay, and, I would expect you're getting out the meeting date change.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so now it's 10:56 and the meeting is adjourned.